So I have Mr. Tommy Giles, or Thomas Giles, let's say, for this one. How are you?
I'm good. Very good. Yeah.
Excited to play tonight?
I am. Yeah, it's a sold-out show, so got ambulances in the background. So,
so let's talk about your solo record.
Yeah.
So what was it that made you want to start a solo career?
Well, just to try new things, just like anything. I mean, for me, I'm a huge fan of simple songs, and the band is not that at all. I mean, obviously, I love the band, wholeheartedly, but the idea of creating music out of like a very simple idea or a riff and just building off that has always intrigued me, and it was a way to just try it and try something new. And from the beginning, I kind of use it as a platform to just literally try anything that pops in my head.
So it's particularly Don't Touch the Outside. What kind of themes are explored on that?
Well, I don't really do the conceptual thing with my solo stuff like I do with the band. And, a lot, honestly, when I write a lot on the road, and once I start getting a big chunk of material together, that's when I kind of start figuring out how I want to do it. But I keep everything kind of real loose till the end as far as track order, and even going in the studio this time, I went in without any vocals or lyrics written. I just had a bunch of songs, and I was like, yeah, I wanted to really keep me on my toes, and I wanted it to be super kind of organic in the moment. So what I did is I would wake up every morning, and it's like, okay, I'm going to do these 2 songs today, and I would wake up and write lyrics and vocals for it that morning before I started. And I like to do little, not experiments, but, the way my approach, I try to change it up a little bit with everything I do just to kind of keep things fresh. But it was, I enjoyed doing it because, I was basically, I was only in the studio for like 7 or 8 days, but I was there, basically all day. I think I left once a day, but yeah. Yeah.
So was that not hard, like waking up and thinking, okay, I've got to write about something today?
I mean, yeah, it's weird. I mean, like when you think back, you're like, oh, that must be stressful, but it really wasn't. It happened very quickly. And these songs, it's not like Between the Bear to Me where it's a lot, and you have to put so much in it to make things work. And with this, it's all about that instinct, and that's what I kind of wanted to create.
Obviously, you've got a lot of guest spots on the album.
Yeah.
One particular is Einar Solberg.
Mm-hmm.
So what inspired you to include him on the album?
He's a phenomenal singer. Yeah. Yeah, and we've toured with him quite a bit. He's a great person as well. And sorry. All right. I just think, for me with vocalists, I like, when you have a guest vocalist, I like for there to be a lot of contrast, and you can tell, I like when someone has their own voice, and he definitely, the second he sings, it's him, so I really like that about his voice. And he's just, I wanted to put him on a song that was different for him, and that's why I chose kind of a more electronic song. I thought it would be a cool little contrast.
That was another thing I was going to mention is there's a lot of electronic influence. I think there's always been in your solo work. Yeah. Have you been a really big fan of electronic music like throughout the years? Yeah, I mean, I would say growing up, not so much. It was probably, early BT Bam. Yeah, kind of started dabbling in it. But yeah, it's just one of those things that I've always enjoyed. I can't say that I think I'm like really good at writing it or anything, but I just really enjoy it. And particularly with Velcro Kid, my record before this one, I was like, I want to write an electronic record. I'm tired of guitar, and that kind of goes back to I'm in a position where I'm able to kind of just try whatever, and it's kind of nice to have the freedom to be like, I want to put that on guitar for a record and just write some electronic songs. Do you think that the fans are quite accepting of your sort of solo material and your idea of like, hey, I'm going to put down the guitar for this? Yeah, the band is the reason for that. I think our fan base, we've been very lucky that they've been there through all our, the evolution of our sound. We've been around almost 20 years now, and I know it makes me feel really old. But we don't sound like we did in
2000. But people have been there for the ride, and I think at this point, people are kind of always excited to see what's next, and that they encourage that experimentation. And and I think that kind of overlaps into stuff I do on the side too. Is they don't want me to just recreate either what the band's doing or what I've done before.
What about the album's artwork? It seems quite a bit futurist, but also quite minimalist as well.
Yeah, well, I worked with Corey Myers, who's done a lot of BTBM stuff, and I've worked with him, for years and years, and it honestly stemmed off of like the old '60s like LA noir, movies. He takes a train to LA to work every day, and he was posting all these pictures that were in that vein. I was like, man, we need to do something like with that, and the mannequin idea was, perfect for the whole idea of being anonymous, which is kind of what the title stems from. And it's cool because it's all photos. It looks like it's a Photoshop cover, but it's actually a location with a mannequin. It's a photo shoot. So so everything in there, like one of the shots inside where it's like this big arch, it looks all beautiful. It's just his apartment.
No way. Did you ever, as going back to what you said about writing lyrics and things like that, did you ever kind of experience temporary writer's block or anything like that?
All the time. Yeah. I mean, lyrics especially. Music, the band, we've been, knock on wood, been very lucky. We haven't had bad writer's block since like Alaska, like 2006. That was the last time that we had like a chunk where we kind of had some. But but nothing. My personal writer's block, I've never had anything that just lasted for a long time. And sometimes you just can't. Like our last U.S. tour, I didn't write a note. You have to. After doing it so long, you kind of know when the time's right to be creative. You don't want to force things. You want it to be inspiring, and you want to be motivated and excited about what you're doing rather than just being like, gotta write.
So finally, what does the new album represent for you kind of now?
I don't know. I think I'm kind of slowly finding my sound, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what that sound is yet, but yeah, I don't know. When I listen back to it, this new one especially is like, it really represents kind of how my mind works musically. It's kind of all over the place, but somehow
good all over.
Yeah, but somehow it fits together and works. I feel like it really represents that well.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for having a chat.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.